on sports.
All right, gentlemen, we've changed orders for the second episode of the week. We have Chris up top, and Gary, you're down below now.
Probably where I belong.
I don't know. I've never been in the as you're facing it, the left-hand square. So I don't know how to do that. But
No.
I guess we all have different equipment because for me, you guys are always in a line.
all right. Well, tonight, I'm here with Chris. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Flaco Fuerte Fletcher. All right.
Wow.
These names are from the MLB weekend. These will be on shirts. So we'll guess who these people are. I'll tell you who they are after.
Flaco Fuerte.
Gary, you are Gary the Loogie Bear Kim. All right. And I'm Dave Meat Sauce Finoli. I like that name. I want to change my name from
For you.
That was
From
appropriate. That was
Sauce.
good for you, Dave. Yeah.
Okay, any idea where they came from?
No idea.
Flaco
You're Chris
Fuerte is
Archer.
Hispanic. It's an Hispanic player, I presume.
No, Chris Archer.
Oh.
Fletcher.
What?
You're Logan Forsythe. So forever now, Logan Forsythe is Loogie Bear. Okay?
Wonder where the heck that comes from.
So
I
the
am-
Archer
I am
nickname
John Von Meter because only a Cincinnati Red could have the name Meat Sauce.
Well, yeah. Well, so that was Chris Archer's. Is that like Spanish for gives up many home runs?
I think in a nutshell it was.
Wow.
Very hard hit fly ball. Is what
Yes.
Well, we celebrate that.
Fire
Now-
on the ball.
The other thing
Although-
we're going to celebrate here is your wife has written a theme song for you, Gary. I bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Okay, I'm going to play the theme song here for you, and this is what we're going to go before we go into Gary's segment every week. Okay.
I
There you
wonder
go.
what this is. Spell it right.
There you have it.
I go more with the Baloney, but we'll take the
We'll take it.
spelling.
Well-
Not quite the Joe Green Coke ad, but certainly a famous 70s ad.
And the 70s ad that is your new theme song for your boxing segment.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, are we going to Saudi Arabia or are we not going to Saudi Arabia?
Boxing continues to just shoot itself right in, not the foot, the groin.
The groin.
I mean, can you believe this nonsense? Okay. We have a guy who gets embarrassed. As it turns out, American heavyweights don't get a lot of credit. Deontay Wilder, I know your cousin's name, he wasn't full of baloney. He's right. Joshua's a fraud. Okay. The guy gets hammered, looks like he wants out there, and then he and his promoter, who said he was going to change boxing, how many times have we heard that?
6.
Send the fight to his soccer stadium again in England. But yet he's not interested in money. He's interested in his legacy. Right. Ruiz, to his credit, again, and I'm not a fan of either one. I don't have any bias here, but Ruiz wins the fight, dominates it, says, hey, pal, you're the one who said you want to be an American star, some global star, which isn't going to happen in boxing anyway, let's face it. But let's go to Vegas or Los Angeles. No, we can't do that, Joshua's team says. There's a bias. What bias is that? Nobody knew who Ruiz was unless you followed boxing a year ago.
They don't like fat guys there, Gary. That's what it is.
I guess.
They're
So what do we
anti-dad.
do? So what do we do? So we go to Saudis who overpay for everything, okay, whether it's from MMA these days to auto racing and everything else. And we have Hearn say, no, this is the best deal. We're trying to globalize boxing. You are full of baloney.
Oh,
You went there because all you went there for was because that's the maximum money you could get. And your turkey is gutless enough to insist that the fight, like he won, which he didn't. He was embarrassed more than Tyson was, quite frankly, in some regards. At least Tyson was fighting back. He looked like he wanted out of there. Okay? Honestly, I don't really root for this. I just try to call it, but you got to root for Ruiz.
But is Ruiz smoking $40,000 of pot a month like Tyson?
Probably not. Almost impossible to do. Think about that.
I thought about it.
$1,000 a day, Dave.
It's what he's saying he does.
Yeah, well, he's probably showing the effects of some of that now, probably along with some of the other stuff. But I mean, it's just amazing. Here you had a great opportunity for all around for them to do the right thing. So what do? We sell ourselves out. Now, I know money talks. Money always talks in boxing. Not going to say that it's change. But, I mean, people are either just complete fools or we have gone off the positioning deep end in just the world in general because the spin on this stuff is just complete crock. Joshua obviously has a lot of fear here. Let's face it. Okay? Yeah. I mean, he obviously has a lot of fear because I think he's afraid that it's going to happen again. They always say it happens easier in a rematch. I don't know if that's going to happen, but, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, global star. If we hadn't started talking about boxing the show, would anybody know who Anthony Joshua is that's listening to us?
No.
Now, and here you had a chance to redeem your victory, fight in America, does have a good person, everything else. And they position it, they're trying to globalize the sport. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. That's very accurate. Baloney. So have another drink.
He's staggering. Fran is staggering right now.
I mean, it just
looks like Tyson off of the
making me thumb up. Damn it.
I even got Chris's beer emptied.
What do you got tonight, Chris, by the way, before we go on?
I've got the Penn Brewery Oktoberfest.
Very good. I've had that. Very tasty.
Yeah, breaking out the fall beers early.
But, you know, Gary, with everything going on in the world, with human rights violations, how the holy hell can you think about having a fight in Saudi Arabia?
Another factor. Now, boxing and MMA are ghetto sports, and they're the gutter. Okay? Maybe says something about me, but they are the gutter. But you're right. I mean, in a world where you're trying to, like, globalize this guy or whatever, you know, he's showing some Instagram photographs about, like, you know, at Mecca he's there, and he's not even whatever, which, again, I got to give Wilder credit. Wilder comes across rugged, but he was right everything he said here. Wilder's scheduled to fight Luis Ortiz, a top flight heavyweight, who gave him a tussle and almost knocked him out last March, and he's going to fight Fury after that. So who's the turkey here? Okay?
Well, as I read in the article, I think his whole goal is not just the money, but to make his Thrilla in Manila or Zaire classic fight. I think that's his ambition, but it's, like you said, Fletch, this isn't the place you do that.
Well, I mean, that's another thing. In the world that we're in today, with so much talk about this stuff, we've got to use sports for it all, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of that, as you guys know, but that's even another thing. Like, how can you do that? How can you do that and justify that, no matter what the money is?
Right.
I mean, that's just unbelievable. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be in America. I mean, it shouldn't have been on somebody's turf who obviously wants the advantage, whether from crowd noise, everything else, to his advantage. And I get that. You protect your interest. But how can you do that? How can you pick this place? I mean, that's just unbelievable. And again, I think the biggest disappointment here for me, every one of these promoters, 100% right on, Chris, every one of these promoters, and I understand that this is not a church help old lady across the street business, but every one of these promoters continues to make the wrong long-term decision.
Yep.
Hearn said that he was going to change all this with his. What's he doing? Now he's putting his so-called star on in a fight that a lot of people were talking about and looking forward to because Ruiz is every man's fighter. It's going to come on at like 7:15 in the morning on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. And honestly, it's why MMA continues to pass it. The sports one's much classier and better and more skilled than the other. But business-wise, it just continues to, and it's going to widen with stuff like this.
Well, don't you think you should have told your champion what you were going to do before you announced it to the world?
Well, that's right. And
there's that part of it.
here's the funny thing. Ruiz says, not so fast. Now, I think Hearn probably has him business-wise. Ruiz had to sign that typical, rematch clause and the options and all that kind of stuff. And generally, the promoter who put the fight on has the right to say where things are going to go. So Ruiz is going to lose. But you're right. What a bungled mess. And it's not like they're managing millions of dollars here. They're working on a couple of events at a time. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's really a shame. And it's why, beyond the world we're in, beyond the fact that the sport just doesn't get the athletes it does, this kind of stuff just I think just turns people off. I mean, you're doing it in peak of football seasons. It just makes no sense at all in any way, from a social standpoint, everything else. So sorry, my moment of the week is a negative one, but I mean, I can't believe it. So,
what would Goggles Paisano have to say about this?
I think he'd say something about driving, like a man driving home on the freeway. I don't know.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right, my friend.
But he would be going way out. And why would he be going way out, Dave?
Because that's where the fun is. By the way, August 29th on Me Television.
I saw.
Flintstones return.
Who does? Flintstones?
Yeah, but do, buddy.
Oh, right now I'm so jazzed. It's as exciting as when the Love Boat came to WTAE at 11 in the morning every day. I mean,
you have a diverse group of interests here.
When Fletcher and I always had questions about our marriage, we always would ask ourselves, what would Freddie do?
That's correct.
Which
one was Freddie? This is going to show my ineptitude in life.
Was
he the little guy on the boat?
Gary, it's Fred Flintstone.
Fred Flintstone's over there. I'm thinking of Blood Boat. You got me off the. What would Freddie do?
I can't go on.
Do we cut it to an 8-minute show or? Oh man! If I say Barney, what's the first thing that comes to your head?
Barney was the little blonde guy, right?
Oh God!
Yeah. See, I know something.
Deep inside me, I'm hurting. I'm hurting right now.
I've a lot to learn. That's all.
Be on Me TV in the evening on May 29th or August 29th.
August 29th. Yeah, that's a Thursday. Yep.
It's a Thursday.
Yeah.
It's on a Thursday. It's very Flintstonian. Oh, anything else coming up in boxing?
Not really. I mean, I think not really. I think Sergey Kovalev is going to fight on the 24th. He's an exciting fighter, a decorated Russian amateur. That I think is on ESPN Plus. He's fighting a guy named Anthony Yardy. He was an Olympian, light heavyweight, Britain. You don't see a younger fighter take on a killer like that fast. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure the business reasons for this one. That's coming up. I mean, the MMA fight this weekend is an important one. Daniel Cormier might be the best big guy in that sport ever. And the second best guy might be a guy, Stipe Miocic, who lives in Cleveland. He's a firefighter up there. Fantastic athlete, good dude. They don't like each other very much as time's rolled on. That's going to be a very interesting fight. That you rarely see in combat sports two Hall of Famers collide like that. Both these guys are that, so that's this Saturday. So I think I should probably throw that out there.
Very good. All right, Great Gazoo. You know who the Great Gazoo is, Gary?
I'm going to take the 5th.
All right, I'm done. So we go.
What would Mama on the right think about this?
Shaking her head. Shaking her head. Shaking her lovely head.
Before we go to you, Fletch, I want to tell you that Chris Archer has gone 3 complete innings without giving up a home run.
And under 70 pitches, too. That's fantastic.
I know.
They're still in Anaheim, I think. They're still in Anaheim.
Yeah, they are. And Josh Bell is sitting 1 RBI away from 100.
There we go.
Got going a little bit again. Well, he went through a horrendous couple weeks there. Wow.
He did. He did. But we always criticize Hurdle, but he did a smart thing, gave him about 3 days off, and seemed to have gotten himself back together again.
Good move. Good move. Well, what do you have for us? What did I call you?
Great kazoo.
Rocco Fuerte.
Oh,
What do you have
Look
for
that up.
Rocco Fuerte?
I'm curious about that one. We got to look that one up.
Well, guys, this week I was reminded that sports really should be fun. And I found this out at a bar. Yes, I know. I was at a bar. You guys are probably shocked by that.
Hopefully not playing the baloney game.
No, I'd be
Get a driver.
But I did score. I was at the John Harvards, and the Rock Bottom, and I did score a seat with the ice tray on the bar, so you can put your beer on it and it keeps it cold the whole time.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who invented that, but I'm sure they won a Nobel Prize at some point.
Great idea. When you think about it, really.
Well, it's a novel idea for sure.
So on the TV was something that ESPN does once a year. They did their Ocho broadcast. And there was cornhole, which was phenomenal. These guys are amazing. I was watching, I was stunned. But the best part was the dodgeball. And keep in mind that the whole concept of ESPN 8, the Ocho, originated in the movie Dodgeball.
So was it an exciting match?
It was fabulous, Dave. You know, the U.S. is down 12-2 to Canada in the Continental Cup. Who knew there was a Continental Cup?
Continental Cup.
They're down 12-2, and they rallied to win it in overtime. This was sport at its finest. And the best part about it was watching it with the closed captioning on. You could imagine just the voice of the commentary, and you read it. And it was like it was straight out of the movie. You know, and the coach there, Patches O'Houlihan, he would have been proud because there was some great dodging, there was some great ducking, there was some great dipping, there was some great diving, and there was some great dodging. It's the 5 Ds. The 5 Ds of dodgeball, guys.
Oh, my God. Did they have a Rip Torn patch on their sleeves?
Oh man, it was beautiful, and I did take my hat off in remembrance of Rip Torn, but
the guys those big red balls like we had in Catholic school, or did they?
Oh yeah,
big red like soft rubber balls.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
but to me, guys, it really harkened back to the early days of ESPN and back to the founding times when you would have like sports and name only there sometimes, but yet we were still excited to see it. So it got me to think, what other sports would be great on the Ocho? Bocce. That would be great.
What about tetherball?
Curling. Oh, I didn't have that. How about this? Jarts. And not these pussy jarts that they have now, the real dangerous, nasty metal ones that you have to sort of walk to see if that thing was bearing down on you.
Oh, that's what jarts was jarts.
Oh, it was the sport of kings, Dave. It was the sport of kings, or eunuchs sometimes too, apparently.
That's right. Or one-eyed soldiers.
Pirates.
Get the mask on. Get the goalie mask on.
How about team handball? Wouldn't that be fun to see?
That'd be fun on there.
Duck pin bowling. My grandfather was a champion duck pin bowler, by the way. I have one of his trophies hanging up on my wall.
Which Cousin Fran, by the way, Cousin Fran is a practitioner of duck pin bowling. Give him a little plug there, Gare.
What plug meaning baloney?
There you go. For you, Fran, the duck pinner.
What is duck pin bowling? Is that those like
it's the
wider?
Smoker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
I've seen that once.
I actually love watching surfing on TV. I watch it all the time when it's on. But what we don't ever see is boogie boarding. That I would like to see. Some of the tricks that they're able to do with that.
Okay, I'm gonna pull a Gary moment on you right now. What is this
boogie boarding?
What is the boogie boarding?
Is that the ones in the shallow water, Chris?
No. Your board is probably about this big. You're on your stomach. You don't really stand up. You're still catching waves. You have fins. You can do spins. You can do twirls. You do a lot of different things on the waves.
Yeah.
It's like
something else. Yeah,
it's like four-man surfing, really, is what it is.
Yeah.
All right.
And, we have the competitive eating, but, we don't have anything that involves chugging beer. So I think we need that on there.
That seems like it would be a fit.
To remind you of how dangerous the competitive eating is, I read somebody died at a minor league stadium in a competitive eating taco contest.
What did he get? Like a shell lodged in him or something?
I don't know. I looked
such
at it and
a-
I thought, do I really want to read this article? And I said no.
Acid reflux from the spicy chili and the.
I think one of his opponents came up and sliced his jugular with the hard shell. Maybe that's what happened.
It might have.
But
It
guys,
might
we always take ESPN to task, for some of their foolishness sometimes, and just some of their shows now. But this was actually fun sports, and it was good to watch. And I got to tell you, I've been to bars, watched a lot of sports, and people were into this. They were laughing. People were having a great time. They were shouting out lines from the movie Dodgeball. It was a fun night. And I was lucky I had my son next to me, and we were just laughing at the commentary because these people were trying to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And that just made it even funnier. And the fact that you didn't hear their voices, but you could read the captions and you could imagine it. And what was it? Cotton, what was his last name? The character in the movie. But I can imagine Cotton saying all these things. And it was just, it was great television.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's what you watch TV for. You should watch it to have fun.
Yeah, and that's right. And too much of the other stuff these days, there's just constant news every day about something like we just can't get away from. Like,
well, let me tell you this, guys.
Channel to get away from some of it. Like,
it's a hell of a lot more fun than a 4-22 slide. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, which has been probably the worst month of Pirate baseball I've seen in 50-some years.
Yeah, this one I have to say is they've had some bad second half falls, but this one was just unbelievable. And
because there's talent. There's talent on this team.
Yeah,
that's the thing that irritated me more than anything. But I digress. We're not talking about the bad. We're talking about the Ocho. Imagine what the Ocho's Sports Center would be like.
Oh, I think we could be on it. What the hell?
Yeah.
Do you know how it did, Chris, or do you know how it did? Like,
but they do it once a year, and it's always fun. And
once a year, okay.
I'm a fan.
It's like the Aussie Rule Football Grand Final. You don't know why you're watching it, but I would stay up till midnight every year to watch the Aussie Grand Final, and it was fun. Exactly.
That was crazy stuff with that orange ball.
The referee is fabulous with that too.
You think Mama on the right could be a referee there?
No, because she'd be too distracted.
All right.
I mean, ABC Wide World of Sports didn't quite have dodgeball, but they had a lot of crazy stuff. Remember, like they had hurling on. Remember hurling in the '70s was like a Irish game.
I remember
like
hurling in the late '70s. I remember
ball.
Billy hurling on my boots.
Yeah.
So I'm not the hurling fan you might be.
But I'm just saying they had some ABC Wide World of Sports had some crazy stuff like that. Not quite the dodgeball and some of the other stuff, but they had some stuff like, what the heck is this stuff?
But it was fun, and it was Jim McKay's voice, and it made it better.
Yeah, it did.
Or Bob Beatty, God rest his soul. If he's dead, he might not be dead.
Just his career, Dave.
Yeah. All right. Well, God rest his career. Damn it. Oh man. Well, let me tell you guys. I was going to talk about our Dukes tonight. There was a respected site that had them as the 10th best team, FCS team in the country, which from where we came from and for a team that is in a conference that doesn't exactly boast competitors for national championships, it was mind-boggling. And it shows I really don't see them as finishing 10th in the country, but the boost it gives you for recruiting, one day we might be there. So this is exciting stuff for our program.
Yep.
Now, I'm a Michigan man, as you well know. So the joy of me wanting to open up and talk about this Duquesne team was all thrown to hell by my Michigan nemesis, Ohio State. I digress. The Ohio State University.
Oh.
Today they put into trademark the word the most commonly used word in the English language. So they can have the trademark for the Ohio State University. As if you need that there because of all the false Ohio State universities around the country.
How many are there?
You know. But it also, on a good end, it came up. I'm going to tell you guys a little story. It's a story on. Let me bring it up here. Story on Terrell Pryor, who was a Jeanette god, and the day he was being recruited or about to give his answer. I'm bringing it up right here, right now. It's a good story, I swear to God. You know, but anyways, a guy I know by the name of Joe Mandak was covering it that day. Terrell Pryor was about to announce his choice, and he was supposed to call in with what Terrell Pryor said and some of his quotes. Terrell didn't want to say anything. He just was going to wear a T-shirt, and he was going to pull out the T-shirt. That was his announcement. Then he was gone. And so he gets up and he pulls the T-shirt, the University of Ohio State, and he leaves. The University of Ohio State. Your Terrell Pryor moment of the day. But the arrogance of the university to want to do something like this, because it will benefit the students and the university, was their call. I just, for the life of me, I'm going through the books I've done, and I now must change the Pittsburgh Pirate Encyclopedia to the Pittsburgh Pirate Encyclopedia, so not as to have a infringement of the word "the" to the Ohio State University. Most ridiculous thing since, as one story said, the most ridiculous thing since they had Urban Meyer teach a class on ethics. True story. True story.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what to say about this.
I mean, it's just, yeah, it's beyond, like, it's almost like they have the Penn State, like, in the middle of nowhere disease. I mean, Columbus is a pretty good sized city, though. Like, I mean, what the? Like, I mean, who came up with this genius thought?
I don't know. Penn State sometimes refers to themselves as the Penn State University. Does that go away? Can they not do that? I would think if this passes,
nuts.
That could be in line to be not legal. It's ridiculous.
We got too many people making too much money doing that.
You have a red shirt on, by the way. Is that an Ohio State shirt, Gary?
No, it's no. No, I wouldn't wear that. I don't have an Ohio State shirt, and I'm not gonna get one. So, not gonna get one.
All right.
But I mean, I just I don't know. It just shows the self-importance, and the whole world's full of it. But it's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Well, I'm thankful, actually. Kind of thankful. I now have a new reason to hate Ohio State. So I was running out of good ones. You know, I had exhausted my list of 99. So it's just what a bunch of assholes.
I mean, it's just the most yeah.
So what are you going to be rooting for on the third Saturday in November?
I'm going to be with blue and yellow helmets, as if we weren't doing it anyway.
Hail to the victors. Hail to the victors.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. But, yeah, this is just ridiculous. Took my thunder away from the Duquesne Dukes, A.J. Hines, and then number 10 Duquesne Dukes, which pisses me off. I'm pissed.
I think we should discuss them, though, because it's interesting. The program with this kind of success, and if they could parlay this, and it seems like Schmidt can. I mean, he's had a good run there. Well, you're going to have some big business issues, though. They're going to have to find a place to play to make a little bit of money. They really got some big issues facing them, too, because of their success, ironically, now, I think.
Well, I think they should play in Highmark Stadium. I mean, you can put 5,000 people in there.
I hear you, Dave.
It's a good facility. You know, what they have right now is basically a football stadium, a football field.
And basically intramural football. Yeah.
With a couple of stands put up.
Yep.
The field that I used to throw touchdown passes to Lisa Van Cherry at Duquesne. That same field.
She had good hands.
She had good hands. Exactly. I'd throw it up and I'd say, just run underneath, Lisa. You know, it was a good combination. We never lost.
I mean, I don't know how much the students didn't look like the 2 times I've been there. Students really aren't going that much anyway. So why do you need to have it on campus? 1, and 2, in a football hotbed like that still? They're good. You're telling me that some people wouldn't come out there and they wouldn't sell a decent amount of tickets at that? They would, I think.
If you're getting yourself into that level and you're starting to play schools like West Virginia,
yeah,
you're intent on making your program relevant. So tough to be relevant in a 2,500 seat, I'll call it a stadium out of respect to the Rudies.
And I don't even know, it's hard for me to believe they'd even get that many, honestly. But yeah, I hear you. Yep.
But
it's interesting. That's an interesting topic, I think, potentially for us, because it's interesting. They really got a chance here to really do something with it. And they're in a football center.
Well, they were in the top 20 last year. They finished that for a Northeastern Conference team. That's unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
And this team's going to be better than last year. So,
yep, I believe and the schedule's lighter.
Yeah,
not 2 Division I opponents this year.
No, I'm thinking I'm making the trek to Youngstown State that weekend. Go watch. They're probably their toughest opponent of the year.
Probably, yep.
So, but anyways, we're going to quickly go around for our prediction of the week. Fletch?
Well, guys, news broke today that the Pirates pitcher Jameson Taillon had to undergo a second Tommy John surgery. This isn't good news. I mean, not only does it mean that he's lost for 2020, it casts a shadow on his career. In fact, my prediction is that Taillon, who's projected to be an ace for this team, will never really have much of an impact. And here's why. They did a study in 2015. They looked at professional pitchers who had this Tommy John surgery twice, and the stats really aren't good. It appears to lower pitchers' performance, shorten their careers. That's according to the study. The researchers looked at, I think it was 33 major league pitchers who had the surgery twice. And it's really what you're doing is you're reconstructing a torn ulnar collateral ligament in their throwing arm. So after that second reconstruction, only 65% of those pitchers even returned to pitching at a major league level.
Wow.
They averaged 3 years or less at the major league level after that second procedure. And the number of innings they pitched decreased by nearly half. And they gave up almost 1 extra walk per 9 innings. And their win totals dropped in half following that second surgery.
Wow.
It's really a shame. I mean, here's a guy who's been through a lot of shit. And, he deserved better. And it really is going to throw the Pirates into even more of a tailspin, because they're going to have to do something to find another starter. And the starters that are out there right now for unrestricted free agents, they're expensive and they're not worth the money.
Yeah.
So what do? You hope that Williams comes back. You probably you figure that maybe Keller's going to be your guy next year, but Archer, I don't know if he's going to ever be what they projected him to be. So, all of a sudden, this hope for the 2020 season is pretty well gone in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully Ryan Vogelsong will be out there, because that's about what they're going to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got, Gare?
I mean, I think it's an interesting story. And just as an aside before the prediction, I was, again, a little bit disappointed, and even in MLB Network this time. You got one race that's interesting, 2 good teams in the Twins and Indians, virtually no coverage. Virtually none. How many times we need to see the Yankees pound on Baltimore and Toronto? How many times we need to see a mediocre Boston team? I mean, couldn't you have put some of this on TV? They didn't.
Yeah. They were great games, too.
They were great games, and good teams, interesting guys in these teams. And Francona, despite the criticism in the past, Boston, we all probably could have won. A fantastic job with all those pitchers' injuries, lots of personnel changes, some youth thrown in. There's really no big star on that team.
Hell of a man.
I predict they're going to win it. They're going to catch the Twins and they're going to win it. And I feel pretty comfortable in it. I really do.
All right. I like it, and I'm going to agree with it.
Yep.
And now we're witnessing your Pirate blow-up inning.
There it is. I was about to predict that. They just beat me to the punch. I also was going to predict tonight that in the Super Cup, UEFA Super Cup, Liverpool was going to beat Chelsea 2-1 on penalty kicks, except it already happened. Woohoo, Super Cup champions. All right?
I'm not singing.
Fletch, I know you recognize the 1984 throwback Liverpool jersey.
I like
Okay,
the
I know
photo.
you recognize that. You don't
I like
have
the
to
photo.
sing, but Gary, I want you to say baloney 4 times in a row.
Oh, man, I'm almost out of beer. Don't do it, Gary. Just do one.
Baloney.
Okay, one more. One more.
Baloney.
All right.
Get some water, Chris. Baloney.
Well, last
I like
week
the photo.
my CFL streak ended at 4. So
You're still doing all right, though.
it was lightning. It was a lightning storm. It caused a delay for like 2 hours. That took the mojo away from Montreal. So I don't blame myself. I blame this weather stuff that we're going.
Did
Okay.
they have a bat that said Wonder Boy?
You thought something like that could have happened, but no.
Well, you deserve credit for having a minute because a lot of CFL experts thought that was going to be a blowout. And again,
Yeah,
you said
but
no.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
All right.
So this week we have BC going against Winnipeg at Winnipeg, one of the worst teams in the league against one of the best teams in the league. And my problem is if you can't say your name and you have to go to initials like BC, if you can't be proud of the fact you're British Columbia, you don't deserve to win this game. Okay? In a nutshell. So Winnipeg, because they're proud enough to say their city's name, is going to kick BC's ass in this one. I'm going to say by 22 points. Why 22?
Why?
Because it's one more than 21. Okay? And you can do that in the CFL.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
All right?
Yes, you
I'm
can.
up by 21. I want to go up by more than 21. What do? I kick the punt out of the end zone. Okay?
Exactly.
So I can win by 22 because that's what I want to do. All right? So they're going to win by 22. Like Muhammad Ali did with, I believe it was Jimmy Ellis, making him say his name. Winnipeg is going to, knock down the BC player, put their foot on their chest, and say your name. Say your name. That's how big an ass whooping this is going to be.
Wow.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed ass whooping.
That's quite a tie together.
Say my name. BC. Say
Muhammad
my
Ali,
name.
Jimmy Ellis.
BC.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers and BC Lions. Quite a tie together.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was going to predict the Angels were going to score 4 runs that inning, but again, they beat me to it.
Oh, it's hard to watch, guys. It really.
Yeah, it's not getting better either.
No. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
Think about this. With last night, they won 2 games in a row for the first time in 5 weeks.
I know.
5
Major League Baseball.
I know. But the streak is over. Unless somehow Reyes, who apparently is going to be the savior because we got to find a spot for him every night at his 181 average.
Used to be Luplo, now it's him.
Well, he's the Sean Rodriguez of this team.
He's no Loogie Bear. That's you, Gary. All right?
Or Fuerte, whatever the heck it was. We'll have to look that one up.
All right. Now, as we say goodbye for this week's episode, how do you want to say goodbye, Gary?
I want to say my baloney has a first name. It's whatever. I'll have to rehearse the song.
Rehearse it. Ask your wife.
Yes.
You guys have a wonderful evening. When we see you next time, we're going to talk more about the Duke, okay?
I feel we should.
The Duquesne University. Have a good night.
You too.
Fellas.
Good night, guys.
Bye.